Hello. So we are improvising once again. Our plan was to video at the gym today, and they don't want us to leave the house. So we've improvised a little bit to set up a little place to film here in the living room. And what's a gym owner to do but have a full rack in her living room? So at this point in time, it is coming in handy. Anyways, I wanted to make a series of different videos on various topics just to help you with your workouts at home right now. As far as today goes, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to give you some suggested tips on how to organize your workout to get as much as you can out of it at home. And the second thing I'm going to talk about is proper form and technique when you're doing squats and lunges, because I know that that is one of the areas that is most commonly done incorrectly and can definitely have negative effects on your knees if not done right. So first, I want to talk about organizing your workouts. Those of you that do personal training with us know that we are big on keeping that heart rate elevated throughout your workout. Depending on what muscle groups you've decided to work today, I would recommend doing a combination of 4 different exercises. And then if you're going to do, 2 or 3 sets, you basically do those 4 exercises, maybe get a drink of water, take a breather, another set of 4, and then a third set, another set of 4, depending on your fitness level. Those of you that are really fit can even go up to 4 sets. So one of the things that we do when we do our personal training is we really try to maximize the time spent in the gym by doing complementary muscle groups. So what that means is start with your large muscle groups, and then when you feel like you need to recover, so your last couple of exercises may be smaller muscle groups. So large muscle group is chest, back, legs. And then what I would suggest, depending on where you are at, what you have access to, I would definitely say that your ab exercises as well as your lower body exercises and your cardio exercises can be mixed in if you want a little bit more cardiovascular to burn fat. So remember, abs are going to get your heart rate up, leg exercises are going to get your heart rate up, and then other exercises such as just jogging in place, high knees, butt kickers, things like that, jump rope, whatever it is that you have access to, you would want to do that maybe in between. So one way to organize your workout would be to do, 3 to 4 exercises, whatever you choose to do. And then what you do in between your first and second set maybe is 2 minutes of jump rope, 2 minutes of abs, 2 minutes of, squats, whatever it is that you want to do to get your heart rate up. Maybe that would be an option. Then, once you go through that, depending on how many rounds you wanted to do, you could do certain muscle groups today, other muscle groups tomorrow, and organize your workouts that way. Hopefully that is not confusing, and if it is, I apologize. So anyways, I want to also speak about form and technique with squats and lunges. That's definitely something that I see commonly done incorrectly, and I don't want people coming back to the gym with hurt knees, and I want you to stay safe while you're working out at home. So let's break that down a little bit. No matter what you're working, whether it be squats, lunges, step back lunge, walking lunge, forward lunge, plie squat, everything's the same in terms of the movement always originates from your hips. So many people, when they do squats, they think, let me do a squat, and they bend from their knees. See how my upper body stayed straight and my movement originated from my knees? That is absolutely 100% incorrect. When you do a squat so that it's effective to emphasize glutes, hamstrings, and remember, quads are going to work regardless. Quads will always want to help out. Quads, hamstrings, glutes, they will all work with squats. But I'm really big on always encouraging my clients to think about the lazier muscles, the weaker muscles in the glutes and the hamstrings being your focus, because quads will work regardless. So remember, when you're doing squats, the movement's always going to make sure that you originate that movement from the hips. So to do a squat correctly, it's just a matter of letting your hips come back and coming forward. Now what you'll find is my knees, they don't shift forward or backwards because it's a movement from the hip. So it's literally sticking your tush out and coming back in. Now I feel my glutes, my hamstrings, and my quads all in the same motion. Now, if you were going to be doing that and you were at home, one way to do it is get a chair, because this definitely will make sure you're not cheating, because you don't want to miss it. So one way is maybe come out a foot from the chair, and now reach back with the hips, tap, and back down, and back up, I mean. So tap and back up. Now, if you don't need the chair, obviously freeform squats is good. Now, say you wanted to do a little bit of an advancement on the squats, okay? Maybe go 5 squats and then get to the bottom and little pulse, okay? Go 5 pulses down there. Then 5 squats, large range of motion, come down, hold it, little pulses from here. So that will take a simple exercise and just pick it up a notch, okay? So since we are just having very little access, mainly body weight, maybe some free weights at home, that kind of thing, we have to be creative. And one way to do that is by holding those exercises. And you can even just hold that squat at the bottom for a series of 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then start your exercise, or maybe take some pauses in between. So that form and technique really does not shift or change no matter what exercise you choose to do for your lower body. So let's talk a minute about lunges. So we feel that the most common and safest lunge to do for most people is the step back lunge. And you just have a little bit more control, and it should look exactly like the squat. So you're going to shift that weight into your working leg. You're going to step back with the opposite leg, and this is where the work comes from. Your working leg, when you're doing lunges, is always your front leg. So shift that weight into the working side. You're going to, again, nothing changes. It's mainly like a one-legged squat, right? So you're basically shifting at the hips, step back with the left, press up through the glute in that right leg. So coming back here, coming forward. Now, another thing I encourage my clients to do is emphasize pushing up through the heel of your foot. That will ensure that you don't let the body weight shift through the toes, because anytime you let the body weight shift through the toes, the tendency to feel it in your knee is there. So that would be the other thing to really think about. So again, you're shifting that hip back. It's all about a movement originating from the hip. Again, the knee doesn't lunge forward or backwards. It stays right there. So that knee does not move whatsoever. Just like that. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And that step back lunge is your safest, I feel, for keeping your knees safe, and it's super effective. So that form really shouldn't change if you're doing a forward lunge. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate that for a second. If you're doing a forward lunge, that should definitely still be there, okay? Now, what you'll notice is when the hip comes back, you will naturally lean forward at your hips. So see how my body is kind of shifting forward just a little bit? So again, my forward leg is my working leg. I'm pushing up through the heel, and I'm really feeling it in my glute. So that's the forward lunge. Now the walking lunge would be the same thing. If you're traveling with that lunge, again, it's like a forward lunge, and you're coming up through, the other leg is coming right up. Again, walking lunge, I'm leaning forward, tush is back, coming up, here, coming up. Now, we're all at home, so If you have a high stair at your house or even a low stair, depending on your fitness level, those are really good tools to use for what we call a step up. The form and technique on a step up, same thing. Foot is here, hip is back, leaning slightly forward, pressing up through the heel, tap with the other side, and back down. Now, full range is gonna be easier than doing this. Coming up, holding low, coming back down. I feel that much more in this leg, holding tight. So there's different variations that you can do to make it a little bit more challenging. If you were an advanced fitness level and you felt like the height of a chair would be okay for you, you absolutely can do that here. So coming up, tap, back down. And again, coming up, tap, back down. But remember, that knee should not lunge forward. So emphasizing pushing through the heel. And then again, if you want the challenge, hold low. Just like that. So hopefully this is helping. Hopefully this is making sense. Let's go over a plie squat. Okay, same kind of thing, only your feet are angled out. Okay, now you always want your knees to follow exactly the direction of your toes. So, because here's the other reason why. If you take your toe out that way, it's actually originating from your hip joint. Your hip joint is what's causing that foot to come in and out, because your knee is a hinge joint, okay? Your hip is the only one that allows you to have that pivot. So your hips are wide, okay? Your knees have to be in line with those toes as you come down, okay? Now, the plie squat usually is a little bit easier for people. So this would be the one that would be perfect to either have a dumbbell, or if you don't have weights, you can use your water bottle, water jug, whatever it is that you have that might weight you down. And also a perfect exercises to do the plie little pulses here. So you can go maybe 10 pulses, come up, go full range, then come down, hold, maybe hold for 10 seconds, then pulse. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can make that more challenging. So hopefully this little tutorial will help you stay safe, help you kind of remember different exercises that you can do, and most importantly, teach you form and technique so that you can be effective when you do your exercises, you can be safe when you do your exercises, and really feel it in the areas of your leg that you want to, which is always going to end up being glutes and hamstrings is what you want to really try to feel. So just a recap, when you're organizing your workouts, remember 3 or 4 exercises, whatever muscle groups you're wanting to do. Remember your ab exercises, your leg exercises, that's what's gonna get your heart rate up so that you can sweat even in your living room. Then, make sure that when you are working your lower body, it is a hinge from the hip joint. It's not a movement from the knees at all, okay? And the front leg is always your working leg. So if you're doing a step back lunge, it's this leg that's pressing up and forward, using the glute here, okay? And you should have a natural lean forward when you do a squat the right way. So if you're too far upright, you're not gonna do it right, no matter what. So allow yourself, bend forward from the hips. Allow yourself to bend forward at the hips. Even with the walking lunge, you should be leaning forward at your hips to do it correctly, okay? I'm not here, I'm here, okay? So whatever it is that you're trying to do at home, make sure that you're thinking about form, you're thinking about technique, you're trying to push through your heel, you're keeping your weight in your working leg, which if you're doing any kind of lunge, it's your front leg. So I guess that's it. If you have any questions, post below, and I'm gonna move on to work my left side because my right one is gotten a little bit of a workout and my left one's feeling neglected. So have a good workout, everyone, and we'll talk soon.